I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
We have such sights to show you.
Yeah, well, you know, that's just like your opinion, man.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Check out the big brain on Brad.
I guess I was probably returning videotapes.
I am big. It's the picture that got small.
Who cares?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast. This is Matt.
This is Rachel.
This is Carl.
And this week, it's my pick. And before we get to my pick, I just wanted to acknowledge something. You're typically listening to our episode. We record several before they get released, so this is probably like a month before you'll actually hear it.
Air date.
The date today that we're recording this episode is June 6th.
We are time travelers.
2023.
It's D-Day.
And that's right. Today is D-Day, and I wanted to acknowledge that today is the 79th anniversary of the landing on the beaches of Normandy. 160,000 Allied troops landed, went through 50 miles of heavily fortified coastline. 9,000 Allied soldiers were killed or wounded, but their sacrifice gave way to over 100,000 soldiers who marched across Europe to ultimately defeat
Turn the tide.
Hitler. And it
Turned
did.
the tide
It really
of World
did
War II.
turn the tide, and I think it's an important day historically to remember in our nation's history. And many, if there are hardly any people left alive that participated in that. So I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention, along with the fact that, if you didn't know, June is Post-Traumatic Stress Disorder Awareness Month. And although there might not be any World War II veterans around to support, there are plenty of other veterans of other wars. And we should acknowledge that, you know, post-traumatic stress disorder is a thing, and people do need help with that.
Yes.
And June is the awareness month for that.
And a good movie, if you're interested in D-Day, would be Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan is a fantastic film.
It's a great film.
I mean, you know, obviously none of us were there, but
No, but
I imagine that opening scene of Saving Private Ryan is probably the closest we'll ever get to experiencing what it was like to be
just to get an idea.
An onlooker.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that in the theater?
On that beach. Yes.
We did.
Oof.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
It was quite
It was nuts in the theater.
sensory
It
experience.
shook.
Yeah.
It shook the whole room.
It was something else.
Yeah, it's intense. And, you know, Band of Brothers was also very good. I believe, oh God, I can't remember his name. And I could be totally wrong, but I think the guy who wrote Band of Brothers also had a hand in writing Saving Private Ryan.
Maybe.
Based on the source material. I could be totally wrong.
Just making things up now.
But I do all the time.
I know.
So.
But yes, good acknowledgement.
Anyway.
Ambrose.
Excellent.
Stephen Ambrose.
Stephen Ambrose.
He's a writer, right?
He's a writer.
author.
I've read the Band
Yes.
of Brothers books, and he has a few other ones. He wrote, I think Operation Drumbeat was another great book that he wrote. I recommend anything that he's written if you're interested in military
I'm
history.
very interested in World War II because my grandfather was a veteran of World War II. He was a navigator on a bomber in the European theater, and he wouldn't talk about it. He did not like to talk about it, especially, I think, with the women of his family. So I try to devour whatever I can about that time in that region because
people of that time went and fought so that you didn't have to worry about those things.
I know, and he said that to me. But, you know, you still want to know.
Of course.
Like, what did you go through? What happened? But maybe in PTSD, or some people don't want to talk about it, or, you know, times have changed, but...
Looks like Stephen Ambrose was the historical consultant for Saving Private Ryan, and he also was listed as an executive producer.
Okay. So we had a hand.
That makes sense. So good, I wasn't that far
And Tom
wrong.
Hanks said that he poured over all of Ambrose's works in researching the
Yeah.
the role.
in the role. Yeah.
He's a great writer too, so he may, it's not like a dry military history textbook. I mean, he is very engaging in the way that the stories are presented.
Nice.
Anyway,
All right.
so my pick this week is not about World War II. My pick this week is There Will Be Blood.
Will there be?
There will be.
Okay.
I've been promised blood.
And there will be blood.
There will be blood. So, this movie, There Will Be Blood, came out in 2007, and Rachel and I saw the trailer for it in the theater.
Did we?
We did, because I remember seeing the trailer and being like, that looks like a great movie. I definitely want to. We should go see that.
We say that a lot.
Well, 16 years later,
Yeah,
we're
we're
finally
gonna do
watching it. Carl, I know you've seen this already.
I have. It is very good, and there will, in fact, be blood.
But this movie is supposedly it's loosely based off of the 1927 novel titled Oil, with an exclamation
With an
point.
exclamation point? All right.
Which was written by Upton Sinclair, who also wrote The Jungle. That's his claim to fame is writing The Jungle, which is also an excellent book if you've never read
He's
it.
a good writer.
He is. He is. So
He's probably dead.
I think he is dead.
is.
That's my line.
So it's not a direct, from the book movie. It's just loosely based on it.
They do have in the. I brought the DVD from my collection, and on the DVD, when you open it, it has a passage from the book.
Oh, cool.
Oh,
like
does
on
it?
the inside of the
Nice.
package. So
Nice. Interesting. So, what is this movie about?
Blood.
Well,
Oil and blood.
so there's a lot. But I always go to IMDb and look at these, plot summaries. And so I'm going to pick a short one and read it.
Do it.
I'm going to give an idea. So, Los Angeles, California, 1902. Even though the movie starts, I believe, in 1898, before the turn of the century. So it goes from the late 1890s through, I want to say, part of the 1920s.
Okay.
But anyway, it says Los Angeles, California, 1902. After stumbling upon a large oil field, shrewd prospector Daniel Plainview shifts his focus from precious metals to oil. As a result, ruthless Daniel follows up on a promising lead with his adopted son in tow, determined to create an empire. And as silver-tongued Plainview poses as a trustworthy family man to talk to the local landowners into selling vast plots of seemingly barren land for a song, a grim tale of pride, obsession, greed, and blood unfolds. That is a run-on sentence. But that's the general overview. So it's really about the oil boom
Yeah.
of the late 19th, early 20th century.
Okay. And where is this set? What is the setting
Well,
here?
I mean, it said Los Angeles, California.
Oh, sorry. I forgot. Sorry.
So, everyone,
Well, there was the gold rush
Headed
earlier.
out west, yeah.
50 years before that, 1849 and around there.
right.
So maybe this is the tail end. Well, you said precious metals, and now the new thing is oil, because now we have machines that run on oil, like
Well,
cars.
refined oil. So, I mean,
Yeah.
gasoline, refined petroleum was
Yeah.
a new thing
yeah,
at that time. I mean, it says he was a silver miner turned oil man.
Yeah.
So he probably headed out west for prospecting
Mm-hmm.
and then came back or stayed and became an oilman.
Ooh, this is gonna be interesting.
So yeah, I mean, I do find it very interesting. I'm in love with this time period.
I know.
The turn of the century. I mean, that's probably, if I had a time machine and I could go back in time once and live in a period, it would probably be around that time. I think we talked about this before.
Oh, we
but
did,
maybe I
and you
should
wouldn't play this game. I asked you what time you would go
The
back
time
to,
machine.
and you were like, "I'd go back everywhere.
No, he
I'd go
said
back to the Big Bang."
the creation of the universe.
Yeah,
Yes,
you were
and
out
then
of
we
control.
pigeonholed him into.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
said that if
what you
I
said.
could go back once
know
and
you said.
stay there, that's a time where I would go
Yeah.
to, because it's the end of the Wild West. I mean,
Total freedom.
absolutely.
It is.
It was the last gasp of
Yeah.
total freedom.
It comes with lots of risk,
Yeah.
but it's total, utter freedom. I think that was the last bit of it in this country.
Yes.
That's what I think.
I agree. It really was. I mean, the drive, ambition, and fearlessness that a lot of these people had to, go out west and stake your claim and
Die of dysentery.
build. Well, those are the risks.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Oregon Trail taught us anything.
Right. You died of snake bite.
But it's an amazing time. It's this clash of old and new.
Yeah.
You have like cowboys dying out, but you also have electricity being
Yeah.
popularized.
It's
and,
really cool.
You know, trains and, you know, large scale
Cars.
trade and cars and
Movies, movie cameras,
Everything.
like video.
but it's
Audio.
all new, and it was like you said, the last time in this country that everyone was truly free, but it was also one of the largest times of opportunity.
Yeah.
The ability to really rise out of nothing to whatever you wanted to be, whatever you could attain, whatever you could work for. And you know, I read some other reviews that some see this film as a commentary on the nature of capitalism and greed and its inherent national presence in America. And to that, I say nonsense. I just reject your hypothesis.
Thanks, man.
I think that this is how America came to be. It is the genesis of wealth and prosperity and innovation in this country, and to just, I don't know, box it into something and say that, yeah, capitalism and greed it's bad and these people, you know, striking it rich is bad. I think that that's a narrow, naive viewpoint, and that's a horrible way to live.
I want to see the movie.
Oh, of
and
course,
see
I
what
do
the
too.
movie has to say.
I want to see as well, but again, having not seen it, just going off of what I've read.
I bet in this movie there's a lot of good and a lot of bad and a lot of ugly, because that's the way the world is.
But that's reality.
That's correct.
And that's, regardless of how you want to come at it or what your beliefs are, that's still reality.
Yeah.
Underneath
Yeah,
it all.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I talked about that opportunity at the turn of the century. The world still felt new. Things were still left to be discovered. There were corners of the country to explore that no one had ever seen.
You could get in a hot air balloon and go around the world in 80 days.
I wouldn't. I don't know.
I'm just saying.
I
you
wouldn't
could do
trust
it.
hot air balloon technology back then.
No. That's one of the benefits
Who
of
is that?
modern.
Phineas Fogg?
modern
You could be
day.
Phineas Fogg.
No, I couldn't. But another aspect of all this that comes out of it is, you know, the concept of man's self-reliance, where you know there's no one to save you. You head out on your own to go strike it rich.
Yeah, you
or
better know what you're doing.
Discover or just make your own claim. Yes, no one will be coming to rescue you.
Nope.
And I don't know that things should still be that way. I'm not going as far as to say that. But I think that convenience has ruined us a little bit. We're so used to things being instant and easy and convenient, and such little work required to get something, do something, go somewhere.
Makes you take a lot for granted.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. No, don't get me wrong. I don't want to get in a wagon and go out to like California. I don't want to go to California. Colorado.
Well, where do you draw the line though between convenience and
you
work?
can't. You
or-
can't.
Yeah.
You have to live with the realities of the time that you live. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great to be able to get on a plane and go anywhere in the world.
Right.
You couldn't do that back then.
You could get in a hot air balloon.
But I think I guess what I'm trying to say is that the fact that you couldn't do that meant you really had to want and work for the things that you were after, and it made people appreciate it more, I think. You know.
Well, the achievement, if you got what you were looking for or achieved your goals, it was probably immensely satisfying because you toiled, you know, put whatever you put into it, money or time or hard work or sacrifice.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Along with that, you know, has convenience ruined us? There's also, I think, been a loss of practical skills that a lot of people had.
Like what?
That are lost. Well, no one came and built your house. Well, that's not true. There were people who could do that if you had enough wealth in the first place, but a lot of people went and claimed land and cut trees down and built their own houses and built their own farms and farmed the land, and they knew how to survive.
They did. Well, and they relied on each other too. So if you lived in a neighborhood or a community, you would move in and be like, I need help. And you might barter or give them money or whatever, but you would find the people that knew how to do certain things and ask them to help you.
Right, but you had to have something to offer.
Oh, yeah. It wasn't just do it. Just build my house.
And let's say you were good at farming. Maybe you would offer a share of your crops in exchange for help building or materials or whatever. You would strike deals. And I just, all that... I mean, we're seeing it disappear. I mean, I think more and more people, I'm not expecting them to go build a house, but maybe be able to fix something in their own house. No one wants to invest that. Well,
I don't know, but I think about it this way. Like, there's a lot of domestic tasks that I like to do, right? Yeah. Like, I know how to repair clothes. I know how to sew. I know how to hem. I know how to knit things. I know how to bake bread. I know how to salt meat, like weird things that, and I can do them, and it's nice to know how to do them, but they don't advance me in life anymore. Do you know what I mean?
They're not necessary until they are, and then you know how to do them.
Well, I guess if the apocalypse comes, I'll be all set, but otherwise, when am I going to utilize all these skills in a... I
don't know. You've done all of those things.
I have. I have done
like on a regular basis within this household.
Yeah, I can.
And I think a lot of people can't. And I think that's unfortunate.
Well, I like to do it for my own personal... Like, I want to know how to do it.
Yeah.
And if you don't have that drive, then in the 21st century, you're not going to care. You're not... How does it benefit anybody?
Well, it goes back to my point about, the disposable lifestyle where,
Is it disposable or is it modern?
Both.
Why is it okay to know how to, like, I don't know. I don't even know what. Repair your own clothes, but I don't like AI. And you get down on me about that.
I don't care if you like or dislike AI.
I don't trust it.
It is an inevitability.
But it's furthering this argument that you're arguing. It's furthering this idea that you're arguing against. That people's lives are easy, they're disposable, they're too convenient. Mm-hmm. AI is going to make that worse.
I guess it all depends on what you do. AI is still an information-based technology. It's not going to fix your sink. It's not going to fix your car. It's not going to replace the job of a welder, a mechanic, a carpenter, a painter. It is information-based.
Well, I think you're going to get a resurgence of people going to trade school.
I hope so. We need it.
Mike Rowe talks about that all the time, how kids are getting pushed into college and they're immediately in debt coming out of college because of the loans they take out, and we're losing skilled trade people.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because there's a stigma on that if you go to do that instead of get a 4-year degree.
Right.
Which is crazy to me.
Oh, 100% is crazy because, like, to your point, robot's not going to do that job. AI's not going to do that job. You need a craftsperson in your house, like in your walls.
Yeah, doing the things physically.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's true. So, I don't know. With modernity comes...
Reject modernity, embrace tradition.
Well, in some ways.
Yes,
sure.
In some ways.
In some ways, not in all ways. It's always a balance.
I'm not going to go,
live at
Sturbridge Village.
I love Sturbridge Village.
I love it too, to visit.
Yeah, not to stay.
You're going to go to AAA next time you're going on vacation to get a map with a highlighter showing you which route you need to take.
Yeah, 80 pages.
Yep.
I'm going to get a hand-drawn map and a compass.
And a compass. Be like, maybe it's this way. I don't know. But
sometimes I would like to.
I hear what you're saying, and I do think there's an inherent benefit in learning how to do things.
Yeah.
Just to know how to do it. But in this day and age, you have to want to do that. You're not forced to do it, and it's not handed down. It's not something that's
look at our high school.
Well, but wait a minute. It is handed down. from people who knew how to do it if it's their trade. A lot of like
Oh,
if
well,
I was
yeah,
an
but I'm
electrician,
talking
I'd
about-
want my son to be an electrician or whatever. But that doesn't always happen. And trade skills are handed down through generation. and
Well,
improved
yeah.
upon. But I'm sorry.
Like, did we have a shop class at our high school? I don't remember there being any kind of woodworking or shop or...
No, I mean, the last shop class I took was in junior high school. I mean, we had wood shop and we had mechanical drawing or drafting and stuff like that. But at our high school, no.
Our son
Nothing.
had wood shop. He made me a beautiful Amish table chair, and I love it.
That's
It's
amazing.
in our living room.
But yes,
He made it.
Our high school does offer a lot of very good hands-on
Yeah.
type classes like that.
But he learned how to use all those power tools and the safety associated with it, and
Yeah.
he made a thing, and it's an awesome thing.
and he loved it.
Yeah.
But he's pursuing a career in electrical engineering, so he can do both,
He can.
which is great.
He sure can.
I don't know. There was a whole other aspect I wanted to get into. We were talking about oil and energy, but we don't need to dive down that rabbit hole. They needed oil then. We still need oil now. Let's see. Oh, one thing I also noted. Johnny Greenwood did the soundtrack to this
Johnny
film
Greenwood.
Radiohead.
of Radiohead fame.
I don't know who that is. I only know Tom York. Sorry.
Wow.
Sorry, everyone.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, this seemed like it was his first major movie score
Yeah, it was.
that he did. Because before that, he did what? The Body. I remember when that came out, or Body Song. Body Song, and then he had a solo album, and then it was this. And it was at the same time that Radiohead was doing In Rainbows.
Ugh.
I guess. Ugh,
I don't like Radiohead after OK Computer. I can't follow where they went. It's just not for me.
I mean, to me, OK Computer is peak Radiohead. It's also just a fantastic Desert Island album for me.
Mm-hmm.
Start to finish, every song.
Yeah.
And that's how I listen to it every time. If I put it on, I listen to the album.
Yeah. Like, if I hear one song off of that album,
have
I
to.
know what the next... Like, I can hear the next one starting.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I didn't have anything too much else to touch on before we watched this. I mean, I had a whole other thing about the 1890s in general, and about the, the economic recovery following the Long Depression and blah, blah, blah. But I won't bore you with that. This
Bueller.
Voodoo economics.
This is a history lesson, but it is an interesting time in history.
It is a super interesting time.
Now, this was directed by somebody that I... would strike me as, for whatever reason, somebody that Rachel wouldn't like the movies of.
Oh, go. Darren Aronofsky.
No, Paul Thomas Anderson.
Who's Hans Christian Andersen?
No, different.
It's a
Go on.
three-name
I don't know
person.
who this is. What else did he do?
So let's see.
John Wilkes Booth.
I don't like anything he did.
Any three-name person.
Oh, no,
Lee Harvey
maybe not. So, some notable movies he did. Boogie Nights.
That was okay.
I liked
It was
Boogie
good.
Nights.
Magnolia.
I didn't like Magnolia that much.
Nah.
No.
No.
Punch Drunk Love.
I didn't see it. I don't think.
No.
I think that's
you
the
saw it.
only Adam Sandler movie I enjoyed.
You saw it?
Because he's
I don't
serious
think I
in
saw
it.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like,
I
he's
did.
really good in that.
You did see it.
I did, but I don't remember it.
Adam Sandler's really good in Uncut Gems also.
He's in that?
Yeah. He's the lead in that.
Oh, no, I'm thinking of something else. The Righteous
Righteous Gemstones.
Gemstones. That's what I'm
That's a
thinking
show,
of.
very
I
different.
know.
He also did The Master, which is was about L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, God.
I had a time when I was obsessed with L. Ron Hubbard.
But not in a Scientology way.
No, no,
Please
no, no.
clarify that.
Yeah,
Please.
So, I
wouldn't allow
I was
that.
fascinated. Like, all these Scientology documentaries were coming out, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, cults are super interesting to me, cult leaders, and how they get their followers and things like that. But Scientology...
It's like next level.
It's totally next level. From the first time I read about it, I was like, this has to be a hoax, a joke. This sci-fi writer, L. Ron Hubbard, creates his own religion. And now, if any of you are Scientologists out there, I'm sorry, get help, get out.
Yeah. Don't apologize.
I bought Dianetics because I wanted to know what this was all about and what better way to read from the source.
Right.
And I read it. I read Dianetics. I still own it. Oh. Then there's another book that came out after that was part of the religious texts of Scientology. And I started to read that too. And it is off the wall crazy. Bizarre.
Is that about the alien overlord, the Xenu?
No,
No, you don't get that information until you get to the top level.
So your Thetan levels are off the chart.
Thetans and midichlorians or whatever. But so I was like, wow, this is weird. L. Ron Hubbard was a science fiction writer, so I was like, well, I have to read some of his sci-fi as well. So on eBay, I found a collection of, I think it was 13 hardcover L. Ron Hubbard.
It was a lot. It took up a lot of space.
It was like some sequence, or I forget what it was called. I read the whole damn thing. Those books are awful.
But you read all of them.
I had to.
Why?
Because I was doing research.
Was he like a pulp sci-fi writer?
Like super pervert, like 13-year-old boy,
Ew.
You can just see him being like boobs. Like all of the artwork on the cover of the books is just super. I don't know. It's not even pulp sci-fi. Like that would be interesting. This was just bad. Like grade school level writing. Horrible.
Drivel.
Horrible.
Only thing of his I ever read was a Battlefield Earth.
It's part of that.
I read Battlefield Earth. Battlefield
Earth is part of this big... Oh, well, all right. While I'm looking, what did you think of that? What did you think of Battlefield Earth?
Because I remember seeing the movie, because they made a movie out of it.
They did.
And the movie wasn't great, but I'm like, it seems like it could be good. So the book is huge.
Yeah, all of them are. It's 1,000 pages.
I don't remember disliking it. I mean, this was whenever the movie came out is when I read the book, and I liked it well enough.
Okay, so he also composed a soundtrack to the book. This book,
a soundtrack to
Space Jazz.
Oh.
Now I'm gonna have to track that down and listen to it.
No, no.
Don't.
We got Matt back into L. Ron Hubbard.
No. Just, tangentially.
How did we start talking about science?
Battlefield Earth was his most acclaimed sci-fi book, and it's generally well regarded.
Yeah.
But it's part of this larger series, which is terrible. I can't find...
Because one of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies was loosely based on L. Ron Hubbard and Scientology.
Yeah.
Yeah, that...
Right.
Okay. All right.
That's enough of that tangent.
L. Ron Hubbard is a scumbag.
Yeah, I don't know how many people would argue
scumbag
with that. So
I don't know if I'm going to like this director.
Well, and Daniel Day-Lewis is in it, and he's, from an acting standpoint, he's
a good actor.
He's a tremendous actor.
Yeah. I mean, I'm in.
Well,
I'm ready.
Ready or not.
We're doing it. How long is this movie?
2 hours and 40 minutes.
So yeah, it is a long-ass movie. Carl doesn't like long movies. Or at least I get the impression that he doesn't, because every time we watch one...
He's like, we gotta start early.
I'll get texts, be like, we'll have to start this one early.
I wanted to say, cue Matt's eye rolling now. It's not that I dislike long movies. It's the fact, just to show all of you a little how the soup is made here.
Ooh.
Sausage.
I like the soup.
Come on.
I travel...
Carl doesn't like soup.
I travel to the Matt and Rachel house for this recording. And
estate.
Yes, their palatial estate in scenic New England.
Wow.
And it takes me anywhere from half an hour when there's no traffic to, 40, 45 minutes when there is traffic.
It's true.
Meaning when we finish, because we watch the movie, then obviously we record the post-movie discussion.
After eating dinner.
Yeah.
So, if the movie's not over until 10:30, 10:45.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a late night for me, and my wife is home, and she doesn't like going to bed before I get home, because then I'll wake her up when I get home, and it's
a thing. It's a process.
Yes, so
I'm well aware of why. I just like giving you a hard time about it.
And you were successful at it.
Yes.
No, but it is a long movie.
It is a long movie.
It's a long ass movie.
And it's as far as where we are watching it, as I mentioned, I have a DVD copy of it that I brought, but it sounds like Matt was saying it's not easily streamable.
Well, it was. It used to be on HBO. It's not on Max. I don't know when it left. You can pay to stream it on Prime.
Yeah, Amazon, you can rent it.
And I think if you have, like, you can rent movies off of YouTube now. I think you can rent it off of there as well.
It is on Paramount. If anybody has Paramount
Yeah.
Plus, it's on Paramount Plus.
It is.
apparently.
Okay.
It's interesting. Not to have another tangent, but I installed this Plex home theater PC software on an old Mac Mini, and I started messing around with that. And it's kind of cool because I plugged in There Will Be Blood in there, and it'll show you what streaming services it's available on, and if it's free or how much you have to pay. So that's kind
a
of
nice little aggregator.
kind of convincient.
Yeah.
I have to mess around with it more. But anyway,
Okay.
so we had dinner. What did we have?
Oh, what do we eat for dinner?
So it was, I'm sure there's a fancy foreign sounding name for
No.
it, but it was like a pasta casserole type thing with sausage,
Charisse.
and
It was a
cheese,
Portuguese recipe.
and some withered green stuff.
It's chard.
Swiss
You
chard.
ate it.
Okay,
Swiss chard.
yeah, and
But yes.
garlic bread.
It's charisse. It's like the Portuguese version of macaroni and cheese.
It was delicious.
It was delicious.
And then, as a special treat for Matt and Rachel,
Oh, yes.
I'm a fan of limited edition foods. I'm their demographic. So whenever
100%.
Oreos comes out with their
Watermelon Oreos.
nonsense, or I'm waiting for the Red Tums flavor of Oreos. Doritos do the same thing. And Doritos currently have a hot mustard flavor and a tangy ketchup flavor.
And they are good.
And they are interesting.
Yeah, Carl brought them over.
So I brought them over because this is a mustard household. They are
Yes.
fans of.
We are a mustard.
mustard.
How many bottles of various mustards do you
there's
have
like
right now in your fridge?
4. Okay.
It's only 4.
Okay.
There's regular mustard, honey mustard, Dijon mustard, and brown mustard because recipes call for different kinds of mustard. You
And
can't just.
You know what? We're down one because I like the mustard, the stone ground with the seeds.
Oh yeah, I gotta get that. That's
So I brought them a little bag of
Yeah.
each flavor so they could try them
Nice.
out, and they went over very well.
Yeah,
We're gonna have the
was,
rest for dessert.
was good. Ketchup was good. It tastes like ketchup.
Yeah.
It's good though.
Yeah.
I was hesitant about the ketchup ones, but I like them.
All right, let's watch this
So
thing. We
let's
should
do
watch
it. We
this.
gotta get going.
All right, there will be blood.
There will be.
Let's go.
All right.
And we're back after watching There Will Be Blood.
And there was blood.
And there was.
Blood and oil.
Surprise, surprise. Carl, you've seen this before, and you said you enjoyed it when you watched it the first time. How was seeing it again?
I loved it.
Yeah?
I love this movie. It's. I mean, from top to bottom, acting
Yep.
amazing. I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis.
He wins.
He
wins the prize for acting in this movie.
The acting prize.
He wins the acting prize. I think there is one of those. I don't know.
he did win it that year.
Oh, see?
Yeah.
But
Ta-da.
he is one of those guys that disappears into a role.
Yep.
Like, you don't think, oh, that's Daniel Day-Lewis.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
he becomes whatever character he's playing. And that's consistent across all the movies he's been in.
Yeah. Yeah, he was really good in this.
He's really, really good.
There's it's hard for me to try to summarize what happened. I mean, the storyline isn't complex.
No.
It follows this guy, Daniel Plainview, through his early days as a silver prospector. We see that for about
2 seconds.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he strikes oil, or gets into the oil business. And it follows his life from there, which was around, 1898?
Yeah.
Through 1927?
Yep.
And, geez, there's so much that happens throughout his life with his basically adopted son and gets involved in this Church of the Third Revelation.
It's all basically centered around one sort of parcel of, well, it's multiple parcels of land,
yes.
but it's a large land area
called Little Boston.
Boston, where he basically buys out most of the properties in the area.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets a tip
To
from
drill.
one of the rancher's sons.
Yes.
Who has left because the rancher's family is kind of screwed up. And this kid leaves and
He wants
out. Well, he did leave. He left, but he said he went to Daniel. What's his name?
Daniel
Plainview.
Mm-hmm.
He goes to his office and says, "Hey, if you give me some money, I'll tell you where you can find oil." And so they end up striking this deal. He goes out there. He has a son. You see that he's hanging out with this little baby when he's starting to drill for oil, and then you realize that that's his son. He introduces him. "This is my son, HW," and he's just like an accessory.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, but he was the child of one of his oil men that died in an accident in the well.
right, that's right. I forgot about that.
And he kind of,
He adopts him.
I don't know how official things were back in the day, but
took him.
he was like, okay,
This is my baby
And
now.
he said that his mother died in childbirth, and that was that. It was.
but he used it as a negotiating tactic because he marketed himself as a family man.
Oh
to
yeah,
try to,
he used that kid.
100%.
He did. He did.
And so he goes to this town, he sets up this oil well. He's like, "I'm going to make you," he gives the town a speech. "I'm going to make you wealthy and we'll have schools and prosperity and blah, blah, blah." And he does. Like, he strikes oil and the town is successful for it. But the other son of this rancher, so one son is named Paul and the other son is named Eli. Paul is the one that tips off Daniel that, hey, there's this oil and you don't see him again.
And they're twins.
They're twins, so when he gets to the ranch, he looks at this kid and he thinks, you do a double take, you're like, is that Paul? But the kid introduces himself as Eli.
See, that took me forever
Yeah,
to
it's
figure
like,
out.
is it?
I'm
Like, that was an angle, like he was lying about who he was? Or?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I did. I thought it was kind of like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like, he's hiding it from his family or something.
I think
that they
Daniel
were
was
putting
thinking that too,
an
because when he'd
act
say
on.
his name, he'd be like, right, Eli?
Yeah.
So how can you be sure? How can you know? So he's a preacher at the Third Revelation Church,
Well,
which
he-
is this
that
like
he is the Third
rinky-dink. Yeah,
Revelation
he's the
Church.
Third Revelation. And so Daniel tries to make deals with all the ranchers that have local land, and the first deal he makes is with Paul and Eli's dad. And Eli shoehorns himself in and says, "Wait a minute, don't just sell your ranch. You need to donate to my church." And, he's trying to get his.
Well, they don't want to get screwed.
Yeah. So basically, they set up the derrick, the oil drilling station, and stuff happens. Like, they strike oil, but then there's a fire and an explosion.
Well, the crux of it is Eli wanted to bless the drill.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he said, before you start the drill, I want to bless it. And he was very kind of
Pompous
forward about it.
Yeah, he was pompous about it.
And
No.
Daniel's not the type of person that is going to kind of tolerate that.
No.
And instead of acquiescing to letting Eli do the blessing, instead he brings
does it-
Eli's sister
Yeah.
up, who he found out her family was physically abusing her because she wouldn't pray.
Yeah.
And of course Daniel's like, all right, this is my people. I'm going to
Right.
Yeah.
hitch my wagon to her.
Yeah.
And so after that, as Rachel said, all of this misfortune happens.
Yeah.
And Eli says, well, you should have just let me bless the
Right.
drill before you started it. This is all your fault because you didn't let me bless it.
Right.
And that's kind of the central conflict one of the central conflicts
Yep.
throughout the movie is
those two guys.
those
And they're
two.
both
Yeah.
like total,
They're very bullheaded.
and they're both con artists. They'll both say what they want to get what they want, which makes them interesting, characters.
Eli's very much one of those,
He's a holy roller.
right, like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna pray the illness out of you.
Yeah.
And, he's like a televangelist,
Yeah.
but back in the day.
Yep,
Yeah.
definitely.
And in Daniel Plainview, he comes right out and says he has something in him that drives him to win, and he wants to crush anyone else. Like, he wants there to be no competition, to not even exist.
And he'll say and do whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes.
I mean, I wanted to learn one thing. that I came away with after watching this is that I wanted to learn more about Daniel Plainview's story. Like,
too.
why is he like that?
Yeah, I did too.
What drove him to this? We know nothing of his family.
I feel like the brother subplot tried to introduce some of that when there's a point where a gentleman shows up claiming to be Daniel's half brother.
Yeah.
Right.
And they do talk a little bit about, Daniel leaving.
Yeah. But he doesn't want to talk about it.
No.
He wants to keep those things very private. And we do find out that this person is an imposter. And
I think he suspected that.
yeah, I do too. I'm right from the get-go. Because when you're a person in that position, these people come out of the woodwork with a handout or...
Well, the fake brother even said, I saw you in the paper.
Yeah.
It's right there. It's like, okay,
But
well...
I think even though he knew deep down that he wasn't his brother, he wanted him to be his brother. Like,
Yeah.
he wanted that family.
Well, and that's at the point where his son goes... Did we talk about the son going deaf?
Yeah, we
I say
did. There
that?
was the explosion.
There was an explosion that
So then
caused
he
the son.
sends the kid away. And it's left very vague as to where he goes. It seems like a hospital or a place to try to help him. And
Well, wait.
that's when the
he
brother...
reached out to someone in California.
He did.
In Los Angeles. And one of his associates kind of set the whole thing up.
So he could learn sign language. And,
Yeah, I mean, so he feels like he abandoned his son. And in a way he did. Because it wasn't right the way that things transpired.
Right.
But he did set his...
He tried to help
Son
him
up
in,
to-
in
yes.
a way. He did.
He did.
But the brother steps in after the son leaves. So I think that he's seeking that.
Well, the brother showed up.
No.
The son was there with the brother because he tried to set him on fire.
Yeah, because the
that's
son could see that this he
Was
an
making a
interloper.
connection. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I see. There's so many things that happen.
Exactly.
But
That's-
it's just this movie is a good character study.
yeah.
It really is. Just about kind of shitty people.
Well, you see Daniel kind of descend into madness the further the movie goes,
Yeah.
and even like the music,
Yeah.
like it just gets so
The music was
frantic.
very jarring
Yeah.
to me. And I don't know how to feel about that.
Intentionally so. It
Sure.
creates that tension.
Yeah.
That's there. And that I think that madness was always in Daniel's character. It just
The way events
bubbled up to the
transpired.
surface like
Yeah.
oil.
Oh, nice.
You know.
But it was cool, not only these characters and everything, but it was cool to just learn about oil drilling. Like how they did it back then, or, the risks and what could happen and how you could get hurt. And I don't know, it was really cool. How you would stop after you struck oil, and if there was a fire, they would dynamite it and the whole thing would implode. It was really neat.
Yeah.
And then the ending is bananas. The ending, I think, is my favorite part of the entire movie.
See, all right, why? Why was it your favorite part? Because I was just going to say, don't expect a fantastic ending.
I loved the ending.
Like, the ending has a lot of power and emotion. It's quite the scene, but, nothing is resolved.
Not just, well...
Nothing. They're just done telling the story. Because a lot of time passes throughout this. The son grows up and marries
the little girl.
the brother was abused by
Yeah.
the family.
to go to Mexico, and he says he wants to start his own company, and his father is very angry about that, and he says, well, now you're my competitor.
Because he wants to start an oil drilling company.
Yeah, but I think no matter
he
what
wants
he
to
did...
keep his son at home.
Exactly.
And connected, and I think he feels upset and abandoned.
Betrayed.
Yeah, yeah.
But he doesn't want to say that. He doesn't want to appear
Weak
or...
Sentimental.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he tells his son, you're not even my son.
Well, he finally tells him
Yeah.
the truth of where
But
he
in a
came
very
from
hurtful
in a
way.
terrible way. And his son worked hard with this sign language teacher, basically an interpreter, stays with him throughout this whole time and comes there, and the father resents him.
Well, yeah.
Severely.
But the father never wanted to learn sign language
No.
or communicate with his son. I think he had a lot of guilt about that, the whole thing.
Yeah, he wanted all of the trappings of having a son without investing
The hard
anything
part. Yeah.
into it, really. And you could tell through his interactions that he did love him, but there was just something broken inside of his character.
But the final scene is his confrontation with
Eli,
the preacher.
Yeah.
Eli comes back and he's like, "Oh, I've got this land." There's one holdout. One guy wouldn't let him drill on his property.
but he leased the land.
But he leased the land so he could have a pipeline.
Yep.
So Eli comes back and says, "Listen, that guy died. His grandson's now running the show, and we could totally do this. We could totally do this." So he humiliates him. Daniel humiliates the preacher, which the preacher had done in an earlier scene, had humiliated Daniel. So this was like a little comeuppance. Kind of makes him say that he's a false prophet and God isn't real. And then he just loses his mind. And the guys, Eli is still kind of begging him, no, we got to do this. We got to, I need the money. We got to drill for oil. And he's like, "You're an idiot. I drained all that already. Like, I drilled the surrounding land. There's nothing there."
But he says that in a much more entertaining
it's
fashion.
so funny. It's
Then he
great.
beats him to death with a bowling pin.
Yeah, spoiler alert. That happens.
Well, it's
And that's the end of the movie.
I love it. I like that. That's
but
the
it's.
movie.
I think it showed, after all of that, because he has that conversation with his brother about that house that was when he was younger, and how he wanted to live in that house, and if he saw that house now, it would make him sick. But then he ends up in a giant house,
yeah.
and he's not happy.
No.
I mean, that whole end sequence, he's like drunk and miserable, and he alienates himself even further.
Yeah.
Well, he seems driven, but he doesn't know why or what to do with it. And, for example, when that other oil company wanted to buy him out, they were going to make him a millionaire in an instant.
And that's what
Exactly.
It was, yeah.
What would I do?
And they're like,
the
"Well,
guys-
you can be with your son.
Right, and he
Don't
gets
tell
mad.
me what I should do
How
with
to
my
run
family."
my family,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
just
blah.
really.
He goes nuts.
But he was right. Like, he called it.
Yeah.
He did. And it was never about the money. It was always just about that
It's just a drive.
drive and to win, to crush any opposition. It was, like you said, it's a great character study.
Yeah.
And I really liked the way the story was told through the cinematography of the movie. Like, there's not a whole lot of talking in the beginning. You have to really kind of engage yourself into the story. It's not going to hold your hand.
I was just going to say, this movie does not hold your hand.
Not one bit.
Do not for a second think you can passively watch this movie.
No.
Because you will not know what's going on.
At all.
You need to, actively be analyzing scenes and be like, all right, what's going on here? What just happened?
But it flows well. The
Yeah, it
passage
does.
of time flows well. It's natural. The story is told, but it's non-traditional. I don't know what to call it. There's a style, because I've seen other movies do this, but I don't know what it's called. But I like it. I thought it was well executed.
Yeah, because sometimes those kinds of movies aren't. Sometimes
Right.
it's like, I don't know what the fuck's going on. I have no idea what's going on. But in this one, I did have to, a couple of times I'm like, what? What's happening here? Or did this just happen? But I think we all...
Well, yeah, you
maybe
talk it
felt
out.
that
It's
way.
like, so are they doing this now? It's like, yeah, okay, all right. So we're all, all on the same page.
So it's definitely made it made me think. I had to think. There was no zoning out, falling asleep. There was a lot of active engagement.
I will say, if I lived in this time period, his life would not be the kind that I would want to lead.
No.
Now, one thing I always think about with movies that are of a length.
Mm-hmm.
Did it feel long? Do you think they used the time wisely?
I don't feel that it was overly long. I felt that it was a in-depth story that needed to be told, and it did so in the right amount of time.
I agree.
Yeah, I would near the end. I was like, all right, is this wrapping up? And then it did.
Yeah, because you don't know, how do you wrap this up? How does it resolve? And it doesn't.
It does. That was a good resolution. I liked it.
Yeah.
He drove his son away and he murdered his doppelganger.
What do you think happened to him next? When the credits roll, what happens to
Well, what
Daniel
did he say?
Plainview?
I'm finished.
Well, yeah.
He's finished. I think he goes to jail. or something. You know, the life as he knew.
That's what I mean.
is
What
over.
does finished mean to him? It finished his pursuits? Is he finished as a businessman?
Was that the last thing he had on his bucket list? I need
Right?
to, I need to
Yeah.
get back at this
I
prick
told
for
her I
what he
was
did
gonna
to
eat
me.
you.
Is he done? Like, does he feel like he has
He's finished.
a satisfied,
I guess so.
life? I don't know.
Satisfied or not, he's finished. He's done.
Well, I enjoyed this film quite a bit.
Yeah, it was good.
I recommend it.
Would you recommend it to your mom?
I don't think so. I
No.
don't think she'd enjoy it.
I don't know that my mom would like it either.
I think my mom might like it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
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 There's no romance in this movie. There's no.
It's not an action movie. It's not.
No.
It's a character study.
It's a character
It really
study.
is.
And
But a good
settle
one.
in.
Yeah.
An
Yep.
excellent one.
And Daniel Day-Lewis wins the prize. The prize for acting. Whatever that prize may be, he wins it.
He wins the Movie Roulette Tuesday Good
Actor
Actor Prize.
He does. Good job on your acting.
In our year-end award ceremony.
Yes. Oh my God. He's going to be top of the list.
Yeah, he was good. So he's, and I didn't know this until Carl, you mentioned it, but he's a method actor.
Yeah, from what I hear, he stays in the role.
Oh my God. He must be.
Throughout the entire filming, which
Oh.
I've heard interviews with actors where sometimes they're like, it's impressive and it helps me, think of him
Yeah.
like that. But then I've heard other actors be like, it's insufferable dealing with people that are like that.
Right, you're
So-
in character all the time.
Especially this character.
But it's interesting when
asshole.
if you watch interviews with him,
Yeah.
he's British, I think,
I think
and
so,
he's
too.
very soft spoken. Like he's the
he really?
complete opposite of this.
No.
Interesting.
No,
That's
he's-
very
he's
interesting.
a good actor. You
Yeah.
can-
Wasn't he the last of the Mohicans?
Oh yeah.
He was the last Mohican.
He was in My Left Foot. He was in the Spielberg Lincoln movie. He played Abe
I
Lincoln.
never
either.
saw that, and I'd wanted to.
Gangs of New York. He was really
I know,
good
I
in.
didn't see that either.
Yeah.
Well, I saw this.
Finally.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I did.
Was it worth the 16-year wait?
I mean, unintentional. 16-year
Actually,
wait.
probably yes.
Sure.
I don't think younger me would like this movie very much.
Same.
I think I would have been impatient with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see
And I
that.
think
You
I
know?
would have taken it, you take away, like, seeing it then and then seeing it now, I would have taken away different things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I enjoyed it now.
Yeah. Same.
What would you rate it, Rachel?
I'm going to give it 3.75 out of 5 derricks.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oil derricks, not people named Derek.
Not people derricks, oil derricks.
I'd give it 4.5 streeps.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I closed the tab. Some people were saying, I think it was on Wikipedia, some people consider it one of the greatest films of the 21st century so far.
I'm not
I
there.
always...
That's so
not there with that.
subjective.
It really is, and you got to dial it back. Even you go on IMDb's top 100, even the top 10 movies. It's like I love. Oh my god, I love it so much I forgot the name of it.
What?
Orson Welles,
Citizen Kane.
Citizen Kane, fantastic film for all kinds of different reasons. Is it the best movie ever made?
It was a pioneering movie, and it was the best movie made at the time. Is it now the best movie ever made? I don't know. It was the first. I was a trailblazing movie,
Yeah.
without a doubt.
But I guess my whole point is that those things, like Carl said, are so subjective and
They are. I mean,
bombastic. But I do think it deserves the praise. This movie deserves the praise that it gets.
yeah, I liked it.
Yeah. Well made, well told, in
Yeah.
all respects.
Absolutely.
So,
Good pick, Matt.
Is it my pick next
Thanks.
week? It's my pick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my
yeah,
pick.
that's how it works.
I have an idea of what I want to watch.
Oh boy.
I'm
You
gonna
share it?
yeah, I'm gonna share it. I'm pretty sure that I know what I want to watch because I've never seen it. I would like to watch Animal House.
Okay.
I've never seen it either. I used to have the shirt that said college.
I know. I've never seen it. I believe it's National Lampoon's Animal House.
Yeah.
I've never seen it either.
You haven't either?
I've never
wow.
seen it.
Oh
Okay.
my god, we're definitely doing it. I've already added it to the queue on Amazon Prime. Right? Is that where I found it? Or Netflix?
I don't know.
It
It's
doesn't
on there
matter. I
somewhere.
have it. That's what we're going to watch.
All right.
Animal House.
That's a big change of pace from
I
this
feel
week.
like we got to mix it up a little
Little palate
bit.
cleanser?
We need a little levity here. This was a very serious
There will be
episode.
comedy.
There will be comedy.
There will be Belushi. The good one.
He
I'm
died.
sure Rachel mentioned he's dead.
I just did.
Right at the beginning.
He died. I'll mention it again next
Yes,
week. Don't worry.
please. Talk about everybody in the movie that's dead.
Listen,
That'd be great.
somebody has to do it.
Yeah.
Okay?
No, it's
I'll
good.
be the death announcer.
That's fine.
All right. So let's wrap it up here. Carl, any catchphrases of the week?
All right, so thank you everybody for joining us on another episode of the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast.
Yes. Oh,
Please
wait. Be sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram,
And Facebook.
The Movie Roulette Tuesday.
Share.
And reach out.
Yeah.
Say something. Make a suggestion.
Make a comment on our Facebook page.
Yeah.
Within reason. Don't swear or anything. But
You can swear on Twitter.
on Spotify, you can comment, like
Yeah.
we said.
All sorts
Absolutely.
of pen pals.
Yeah, we'd love
All
to
right.
hear from you.
We would.
Did you ever have pen pals?
No, we're not. No, we're
I had a
wrapping
pen
it
pal
up.
in Russia.
I had one from Italy. Her name was
That-
Valentina.
I don't remember my pen pal's
Ooh,
name. I
that
wish I
sounds
did.
sexy.
Yes, she
How
said
old
I was.
were you?
She said I was handsome. I was in like 4th grade.
Valentina.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who was your pen pal from Russia?
I don't remember. I was in about 2nd or 3rd
Was it a
grade.
lady?
It was a girl, and she sent me a CCCP pin,
Oh,
which I
wow.
still
Do
have.
you still have it?
I do, and a coin.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're allowed to do that?
I don't know.
Through the Iron Curtain?
I guess so.
All right.
We adopted a whale in 7th grade. I wonder how my whale's doing.
He's still going strong, don't
I
worry.
hope so. How long do whales live?
A long
time.
Okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
I'll have to catch up with them.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, let's close this
I'm
out.
sorry. Go ahead.
All right, so thank you everyone for joining us on another episode of the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast. Please consult a doctor before listening to the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast. Side effects, while mild, have been reported and can include difficulty sleeping, difficulty staying awake, depression, internal bleeding, an infection on the skin of the perineum, brittle tooth syndrome, eating, driving, or swimming while sleeping, and lupus. Don't drive or operate heavy or light machinery while listening to the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast. Don't listen to the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast if you're allergic to the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast. Ask your doctor if the Movie Roulette Tuesday podcast is right for you today.
Wow, that was good. That was good
Okay.
and well delivered.
Thank you.
You're like a pro.
Bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.